So I was dealing with this really difficult client who couldn't make up their mind on how they wanted their new kitchen renovation to look. We did a lot of work trying to master the actual layout, so U-shape to L-shape to galley kitchen, and we really finally kind of ended up in a place where they felt comfortable. At the time we were doing this workflow, it was really before we understood how to actually use Revit, model in place elements. Our documentation used to be us just drawing detail lines over the top, and this really was from an AutoCAD mindset, so just drawing 2D lines that weren't really representative of anything else, so it really was a pain for rendering and everything. So after this painstaking process of going through all the documentation, we were about ready to publish, and then the client pulled a total 180. They decided that no longer did they want U-shaped kitchen layout, they wanted the L-shape, and then in addition to that, stylistically, they wanted to switch from more of a sleek modern style to a more of a traditional style of kitchen. So this totally messed up everything we had done. So we had to go back to stage one, back to that model element, and then almost completely redo all of the stuff that we had done in 2D since it wasn't tied with the 3D components. After this experience and many others like it, we mastered a better workflow. In this video, we're going to show you the secret to kitchen design, the way that Revit was meant to be used. So let's start by defining the problem. We really struggled with other Revit families that are good at schematic layouts, but bad at documentation. And even starting with that model in place method, a terrible method, by the way. And we found families that were good at documentation, but really bad for rendering. So we'd have to use separate families to render for client presentations. And then we would have to completely replace those families in order to document properly. So if we look at the essence of this problem, we were running into the issue of not being able to find a family that was good from concept all the way to documentation. We needed a workflow that could optimize a Revit family for quick layouts, polished renderings, all while having the ability to be tagged in plans and organized in schedules. Here's the Bim Depot Casework family collection. We were really trying to get the widest array of different types that we could. So we know we're definitely missing a few types, but kind of the most common are here. We'll definitely be adding more in the future, so be on the lookout. That's why it's really nice to be a member. So whenever we have an update or a new product, you don't have to pay a new fee for that. So it's something that's just always available to you, and you always have the latest and greatest from us. So to go through individually here, we have a blind corner base cabinet, a chamfered base cabinet, double door base cabinet, and the doors go all the way to the top, so no drawers here. A double base cabinet with the drawers, a drawer base cabinet, so you can actually adjust the number of drawers here. Easy reach corner base cabinet, so that's the one where the actual corner cabinet there, it actually comes out as one piece. So that's why you only see the one handle on the door. Single door base cabinet, so that is no drawer, so that the door goes all the way to the top. Single base cabinet with the drawer. Sink base cabinet, so essentially what this is that the drawer goes all the way across instead of two individuals. Double pantry cabinet, so this one goes much higher, and then you have the double door option both horizontally and vertically. And then single pantry cabinet, so similar to the previous version, you just have two doors vertically. And then to get into the upper cabinets, you have the blind corner upper cabinet. This pairs nicely with the base. The chamfered corner upper cabinet, double upper cabinet, so that's double door. Easy reach corner upper cabinet, so this is the one that this comes out as one piece, so two doors, but they are connected, so you can open it as one piece. Single upper cabinet, and then full height wall oven cabinet. So this is built in for ovens and then can also be manipulated to be used for a microwave as well. Here are the different styles that we have for the doors and drawers within these casework families. I have two versions here. So I have a single cabinet with door and drawer with an upper, just to kind of show the variety here. So the first one here, we have a shaker panel. So this really just has the border with no special ornament around that, the style and rail. And you can see that on the upper as well. The next style here is a recess panel. This has a concave fillet around the entire panel. So you can see that in the base and the upper. The next style here is a raised panel. And you can see that we similarly have the concave fillet around the panel with a raised panel in the center. That's available in the drawer and doors in the upper. And then we have a basic flat panel. If we look in our elevation, you can see that all of this is ready to be documented. So it's really nice when you start to take those elevation and sectional cuts, you can actually see all of this, not only within your 3D view, so you're render ready, but then when you're ready to go to documentation, so construction documents, this is all ready to go and already set up. You can customize all of this by going to edit type. And then here where it says panel border width, you can change that. And then you see that that panel border is changed. You can do the same adjustments to all the different panels here. Another nice feature within this family is that we can actually customize each of these individually. So let's say we wanted the raised panel door, then we wanted a flat drawer. Again, you go to edit type, and then where it says drawer type, you do the drop down. Make sure that you locate the one that says drawer and not door, otherwise that won't work. Click on flat panel, click OK. And you'll notice that automatically changed, adjust the handle, and then ready to either document or render. So you'll notice that each of these different styles for the door and drawers, they all have a different handle type. This is something that's not exclusive to the style. Each of these styles are interchangeable with any style of door. So any handle type can be used with any door style type. If we isolate the flat panel, let's go ahead and start modifying some of this. To change it, click on the family and click edit type. Scroll down to segments and fittings. In here, you'll see door handle type and then drawer handle type. You can change the drawer handle and the door handle individually, so they don't have to be the same type. So within that, you'll see that we have a couple different styles within here, but you'll also see that there's an option to have none. So if we click none and then click OK, you'll see that that's totally disappeared. This is really helpful in instances where you have a sink and you have a false drawer. A lot of times you won't actually put a handle in that false drawer. So it's nice to be able to still show your door handle on the doors, but then no handle on the actual drawer. If we come to an elevational view, let's go ahead and change both the styles. And then we can play with some of these other parameters. So here you see drawer handle length. So let's go ahead and modify that. Click apply. And you'll notice here that the length actually got adjusted to match this. The same can be done with the door handle. Click apply, you'll see you will have to do an adjustment here since this is overrunning the top. That adjustment can be made here with door handle Z offset. And then you can play with that until you get it in the correct location. Similarly, you can actually change the Y offset. So really that's the offset from the side of the door here. And then there's also a Z offset that you can do for the drawer. These same adjustments could be made for the upper cabinets as well. So I'd like to walk through how to control some of these dimensions. So just to show the flexibility of these families, you'll notice that we have a few built-in defaults. So 24, 30, 36. If you do need a dimension that's different than this, so in this case, the width, you go down to the dimensions tab. And then here, say if we needed 33 inches, click apply. You'll notice that the door and drawers automatically adjust. The reveals remain consistent, similar with the height. And then you can also adjust the depth. If we zoom in here to a closer look, you'll notice that there's a built-in toe kick. If you go back to edit type, scroll down to dimensions, you'll see here there's a toe height and toe depth. You can flex these. So that changes the depth from the front and then the height. You'll notice that even some of the construction adjusted with it as well. So we wanted this to be as useful as possible in real life as possible. If we go to the front elevation, go back to edit type, you'll notice that there is a gap between the doors and the drawers. If you want to adjust this within the construction tab, you'll see reveal width. Let's change this to 1/2 and click apply. Now you notice you have a 1/2 inch gap around the top edge, bottom edge, and then between the cabinets. Along the edges, you'll notice that it's actually smaller. So the reason for that, once you add a second cabinet and you align these, it's actually going to have that consistent reveal width. So you're not doubling up on that width. So it actually looks pretty natural once you start to stack these up for a real kitchen design. So a lot of these same controls, they actually exist for the upper cabinets as well. So here we have the double upper cabinet. So if we click on this, go to our properties and then click edit type, scroll down to dimensions, you'll notice similarly there's depth, height, and width. So if you change these, they'll change accordingly, same way they changed in the base. The extra parameter here, mounting height, that's actually going to be the mounting height from the location or the level that it's based. So if we go back, click edit type, change this, click apply, you'll notice that the mounting height is now raised to 5 foot instead of 4'6". Keeps all the cabinets nice and consistent. So if you really want to start using Revit to the full potential, you can actually start taking advantage of the global parameters. So if you come here to mounting height, this little rectangle, click on it. You can create a new one, a new parameter, name it how you want to. Here I name this cabinet mounting height. Let's click OK. Click OK. From there, if you go to manage and then click on the little globe here, global parameters, you'll see this here, cabinet mounting height. So if you adjust this, click OK, you'll notice the height changes. And that's really just linking that parameter with the parameter of the family. And then if we come here, let's go ahead and show these other types. So you'll notice here, this is a 36, 30, and 24. So it's 3 different family types. So if we come back, change the global parameter, you'll notice that only this one changes. So if we want this to be across all the different family types that we're using within the project, we'll just need to make that adjustment here and associate those 2 parameters. So now if we go back to our global parameters and then click apply, you'll notice now all of them change kind of synchronized. So it's kind of a nice like little hack in Revit that you can do to save yourself some time. And if you set all this right, and you know there's going to be changes, it just makes those changes a lot faster and you're not having to kind of individually having to go in and change those each time. So up until now, we've been showing all these without actual countertops. So we're really just seeing like the body of the actual cabinetry and you're not seeing the top portion. So the collection wouldn't be complete if we didn't have that. You'll notice here that we have all sorts of different styles, kind of the basic ones here. We have an L shape, a U shape, and a straight galley kitchen. And then these here on the left, those are actually all for different island configurations. So we have a double waterfall, so it wraps on both sides. A single waterfall where it wraps on one side. A 2-tier, so this is the case where you have a lower counter height and then a higher kind of like seating bar. And then this one is just a kind of a simple plain basic island countertop. So within that, you know, all of this is adjustable. So if we go to a plan view of this and start to look at this, so you'll notice here that we have a few different setups here. So 22 inch, if you want to make something custom, you come into here, you can change both the depth and then the height. So we come back to our 3D view, click edit type. So that's actually going to modify the height that it's at. And then if you want to change the actual length, we have that set up as an instance parameter. So you can either modify it here, it'll change the length, or you can just use the grips to modify it individually. You'll just want to be cognizant that that won't snap to a round figure. So you may find it more useful to do this or to use the grips. You also notice that we have a built-in backsplash here. That can be controlled with the graphics as an instance parameter. So if you uncheck it, That'll completely remove the backsplash. You'll see that we have the rear, a left version, and a right version. So those can be turned on individually. So if you just have one wall end, it can be used, and you can really use any combination of those that you see fit. Go back to edit type, you'll see your backslash height. So if you want to modify that, click apply. You'll see it changes both the side and the rear. We can modify the thickness. And then you can also modify the countertop thickness, so not just the backsplash. One of the built-in features for both the L shape and the U shape, you'll see right now this is a 90-degree corner. We have the option to show that as a 45-degree. So this actually adds that chamfer instance that you're actually using the chamfered corner cabinet. So now you can see if you add that cabinet here, it kind of sits in there seamlessly. So, it was designed as one system, so all this stuff actually starts to work together. The same can be done for the U shape. And to modify that, you can just click this toggle 45, 90 degree. So if we uncheck it, click apply, you'll notice that the chamfer pops up here. And if we click it again, it's essentially an on-off switch for the 45-degree angle. And above that, you can see angle width here. If you did want to modify that, you can change that dimension, click apply, and then you can see it actually changes the amount of chamfer that it has. So it kind of makes this a little bit more refined and specific to how you want the kitchen to look. The island countertops, they work very similarly. You'll see within here, we have a bunch of built-in types. So this is waterfall with 2 sides, 1 side, 2-tier, and straight. So these are pretty simple and work very similar to the way that the other countertops work. The last feature here, we also have the ability to add a sink opening. So this is an instance parameter. So if we click check, you'll see that we now have a sink opening here. And then if we come to our plan view, so if we click edit type, we can actually make adjustments to all the different dimensions of the sink. And so sink location depth, that will change the location from the front of the countertop. The sink location right, so that'll change it left, right here. And that is from the edge here and then to the center of the sink. Sink opening depth, so that is the dimension when you're facing the actual countertop. And then the width as well. This really makes all of this super customizable to whatever you're doing in your design work. So we have that in the straight, but that's also kind of true for the other countertop types here. And for the U shape, we have the sink center. So essentially what that means is this back rear portion. So you may have to play with it a little bit just to get it in the correct location. And there's also the option to have it along the right-hand side. So again, you might have to play with the location here. Then if you come to plan, and if you need to show it on the opposite side, you can just mirror this such that it shows on the other side. And then we also have the option to show it on the angle here. So, if you have the sink within that corner, you have the ability to show it there as well. Really, all of those same things are applicable for the L shape, but it's just the option to have it on the angle and or on the option to have it on the side. And then again, if you need to be vice versa, you could just mirror the whole system. All the island countertops also have the ability to show a sink opening. So I assembled a lot of the different cabinet types here. So the lower cabinets, the upper cabinets, and some of the pantries and countertops here. You'll notice how this can actually start to be utilized within an actual kitchen context. Another thing that I wanted to show here is just some of the rendering capabilities. So notice that all of these can be changed. So if you want to modify it, a few of these don't have any materials applied to it. If you want to give it some material, click on edit type, and this really works for any of the different family types. You can go to cabinet material. Right now it's set to the default. Click on the 3 little dots, find the material that you want to use, click OK, and then you'll notice that it's changed to the material type. And then same thing goes for the hardware. If you click on category, find your material type, this should be render ready. And then in the case of the countertop, really just that same process. Similar to the way that we used the global parameters previously, if you wanted to, you can set these up to be associated with another global parameter. So you can see in this one, I already have that set up. So cabinet material, we have that associated with Casework here. And then in the handle material, we have that set up with the hardware. So if you're doing design options and you want to see a couple different material options, a really fast way of doing that is using these global parameters. So now if we change it in that global parameter, it's not going to change for all these families. So it's instead of having to go in and then change it individually for each family type, now that we have that global parameter set up properly, we can just go in here and change it to whatever we want it to be. And then it's going to make that change in a bunch of different family types, which makes it really fast to actually just scroll through these different options and be able to render this and then show it for a client presentation. We really hope that this video was an A to Z solution to protect yourself against indecisive clients. As far as the Bim Depot families go, these families are by no means perfect. If you see any room for improvement, let us know in the comments how we can do that. You can gain instant access to all of our Casework families, including our entire Revit family library, by going to bim-depot.com. If you become a member, you'll gain instantaneous access to all the families that we have in our catalog.